Bud?
Yes.
Bud, if there's time now, could I ask the guys a few questions about their personal experience?
Sure, if you like.
Can I have like 7 minutes?
Give her the 7 minutes.
Okay.
Go, Mary.
Do I get the thumbs up?
Go, Mary.
Go ahead.
Whoever can.
I'm back.
You tap
This
dance?
isn't, yeah. The program, you know, my favorite program is you guys. And just by coincidence, King Schultz has just read a wonderful letter regarding the P-51. And I recently was asked a question by someone that's, you know, there are a lot of us that are kind of World War II buffs of some ilk or another. And someone said, Mary, don't your guys all think that it's true that the P-51D was the key aircraft of World War II? That it made the critical difference, because of the ability to escort the bombers. So my question for you guys is, what in your opinion was the critical, other than the B-24, the critical aircraft of World War II?
What about little brother?
Let me get my camera and go around the room. I want to hear what everybody has for an opinion of critical aircraft of World War II and why. Who has an opinion? Got to all have an opinion.
The story goes that when Göring saw the P-51 over Berlin, he said the war is over.
Wow. Well, as a group, how many of you think that it's true? The P-51 would be the critical difference in World War II. Wow, that's pretty close to unanimous. And that's from personal experience, and from what Göring said.
When I was flying in '43, we didn't have P-51s. But you get to just beyond the German border, and the 47s, you'd have to turn around and go back. Later on, the 51s, like, take them all the way in. It made a big difference.
Mac?
And they not only went all the way in, but they still had a reserve fuel that could go down on the ground, too, on the same mission.
Did they do that when you were flying? Did you have P-51 escort? And were they at that time allowed to go down and strafe? Wasn't there a change in policy at some point on that?
So I don't know when the change policy did, but someone went down to strafe, because I know we had escorts sometimes, we never saw them, but they were supposed to be there.
Well, I think it was Doolittle, wasn't it, that put out the order that the P-51s, rather than escorting the bombers, they were to fly ahead of the bomber stream and then to actually go out and look for the German fighters. And then on the way back, they could strafe at will and so on.
Did anybody actually experience a change in policy where the escorts were one way when you started your first few missions and then things were changed with your last missions? Anybody experience a change in policy?
Well, these were high-level decisions. I've just been reading a book about Jimmy Stewart, and some of these things were written up in there where General Doolittle decided after they had the P-51s that could go all the way to Berlin, he said, that's fine to escort the bombers in, but once you see these fighters, instead of just escorting the bombers, go after the fighters and shoot them down, don't just protect them. So that was the beginning of shooting down the Luftwaffe instead of just being there as protection.
But why wouldn't you as young crew members have observed a difference? Was it just the kind of thing that you either saw some of the fighter aircraft or you really didn't know what their mission was?
As a crew member, you know, you see these airplanes out of here, and the other, but they were far enough away that you didn't know what their tactics were, you didn't know what their orders were, or what the leaders were saying or not saying. You didn't know. That wasn't on our frequencies.
Any other comments?
Actually, we had a lot of P-38 escorts and P-47. And when we came home below once over the North Sea, we called for help, and 3 P-47s showed up. And they gave us a show.
Doing what?
They said, let's see you feather your, they said, let's see you fly upside down like we're doing. I said, let's see you feather your prop.
Fred Talley, what was your comment?
I was going to ask how many times anybody here, a pilot, called for little brother when he was in trouble. He had to get away from the head.
Oh, wait, let me get that on camera. How many of you, raise your hands, how many called for help from your little friend?
Little brother.
Little brother?
Little friend.
Little friend.
Little friend.
Little friend.
Huh. You're.
Yes.
Well, what would you give me? What would you call on the radio?
Well, that was it. I forget what you call it. We called for a little friend. We called for escort.
Mm-hmm.
And
Now, who
we
would you?
run 3 engines.
What would be your initial call? I mean, what would you?
Mayday.
Yeah, that was
I mean, what would you? Who would you be addressing? You know, Torrance Tower. I mean, who are you? What are you
Mayday
calling?
was the distress call.
You really?
Mayday, mayday.
You'd use Mayday to ask for an escort.
You call the fighter channel. Fighter channel. That'll get you escort.
Okay.
Well, over the Pacific, in a B-24 between Canton Island and Fiji, we lost an engine in a squall line, and we called Mayday, and I don't know what it was. A plane, we finally found one over, and he stayed with us right on to the ground, right up to Fiji. Of course, that was non-combat, but the water was still not a best place to land.
Anyone else got an escort?
The best friend I had was a P-38. I had number 3 engine shot out over Germany, so it was a long trip home. And he was there all of a sudden,
For how long?
till it got out of trouble.
All the way over to England?
Not quite.
Wow.
Belgium.
Did you see any tail markings or ever wonder who it was or if you'd see him again?
No.
But the P-51 was a sight for sore eyes.
We were knocked out of formation and called for fighter escort. And my pilot was calling the fighters. He said, "I can't see you." He says, "You can't see me. I can see you. Don't worry about it." Also, I'd like to say a word for the British Air Sea Rescue. They were phenomenal. We were over the North Sea, and I had that north of Berlin. I was in contact with them all the way home. They were great.
Any other, Jack?
So, Mary, we got knocked out of formation near Leipzig, which is right down in the middle of Germany, south of Berlin, damn near as far as you can go. And we had no radio communication, and we were all by ourselves, knocked down from 22,000 feet to about 15,000 feet. And we just took a chance and fired a couple of flares, and within minutes, we had 2 P-51s, one sitting on each wingtip. Looked up here, and here's some P-38s circling around. And down below are a couple of P-47.
Wow.
They escorted us back to the Zider Z, which we could, as a good landmark, we knew we could find, and they could too. And then they waggled their wings and took off. They were really low on gas. But we never would have made it out of there without that. Just, I mean, all by ourselves, you know. The whole damn bomber stream, 700 some airplanes, miles away from us. So thank God for those fighters.
Any other
No.
comments? Dick?
On the long march as a POW towards the last 4 months of the war, especially the last 2 months, we had to worry about P-51s coming down the strait. Fortunately, they must have been briefed that POWs were on the road, and they'd come down and they'd fly next to the column. They'd be just 20 feet off the ground, and they'd dip their wings. But even with that British Typhoon, they were fighter bombers. They strafed a column ahead of us. 46 guys were killed. But the P-51s, many a time they would come down and we'd wave, and we wouldn't break ranks because the German commandant put out an order: anybody break ranks, they'd be shot. It was a good thing, because if you head for the ditch, they might have strafed. But they would come down and they'd dip their wings.
Do you think they knew ahead of time, or were they actually when they got close?
I think they'd been briefed.
But were they making a decision as they came down, do you think? Because
I don't know. They probably wanted a closer look. But I'll never forget that. These guys were like 25, 30 feet away from me, 20 feet off the ground, and dipped their wings.
Wow. A morale builder?
Yeah.
A big time morale
And
builder.
they would keep us in big barns. And finally the Germans gave us permission, gave us whitewashed, and we painted PW on the roof of the barns. And so they knew we were there. But the P-51s was a welcome sight.
Okay. Any other? Bob, let me
It
get,
was a comfort to see the P-51 going after the jets. You could see them up there, you know, going after each other. So, keep the jets away from us.
a P-51 going after a jet?
Well, you'd see them.
Yes.
They kind of turn. They would
War.
try to turn inside them, I think. That was their tactics. But they were up there mixing it up.
Wow.
Well, you know, there's some things about the P-51 that are kind of interesting, and I'll fill you in on it. One is that guns are out in the wing. You had 3 guns in each wing. I got about 750 hours flying 51s after the war, so I did learn a little bit about it. And the guns were adjusted so the bullets converged at 750 feet in front of your nose. And so the name of the game was when you go after a target, you try to open fire at 1,000 feet, where the bullets are going like this, and 750 feet they come together, and then at 500 feet they're like this. So that was part of the name of the game. The other thing was that your throttle had a stop on it that was spring-loaded. And so when you took off, you had 61 inches of mercury, which is a lot of manifold pressure in any airplane. Sure. Normal takeoff was 61 inches and 3,000 RPM. Then you had what you call war emergency power. And when you did that, we had a little safety wire in this thing in peacetime, but in wartime, you flipped that little thing and you shoved it all the way to the gate, and you had a little switch, and you turned on the water injection, you got 80 inches of mercury. That's what you used when things got real tough, so I'll fill you in on a few details.